Subhas Chandra Bose was born on 23 Junary 1897 to 18 August 1945, was an Indian patriot, whose rebellious patriotism made him a saint in India. Be that as it may, whose endeavour amid World War II to free India of British run with the assistance of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan left a beset inheritance. Bose had been a pioneer of the more youthful, radical wing of the Indian National Congress in the late 1930s, ascending to end up Congress president in 1938 and 1939. Notwithstanding, he was removed from Congress initiative positions in 1939 after contrasts with Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress High Summon. He was along these lines put under house capture by the British before getting away from India in 1940. Early life. Subhas Chandra Bose was conceived on the 23rd of January 1897, at 12:10 p.m. in Cuttack, Orissa Division, Bengal Province, to Prabhavati Devi and Janakanath Bose, a promoter having a place with the Kayastha family. He was the ninth in a group of 14 kids. His family was well-to-do. He was admitted to the Protestant European school, similar to his siblings and sisters, in January 1902. He proceeded with his investigations at this school, which was controlled by the Baptist Mission up to 1909, and after that moved to the Ravenshaw Collegiate School. Here, he was scorned by his kindred understudies since he knew next to no Bengali. The day Subhas was admitted to this school, Beni Madhab Das, the director, saw how splendid and glimmering his virtuoso was. In the wake of securing the second position in the registration examination in 1913, he got admitted to the Presidency College, where he considered quickly. He was impacted by the lessons of Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna in the wake of perusing their works at 16 years old. He felt that his religion was more essential than his investigations. Back then, the British in Calcutta regularly made hostile comments to the Indians in broad daylight, and offended them transparently. This conduct of the British, and in addition the episode of World War I, started to impact his reasoning. With Indian National Congress 1921 to 1932, he began the daily paper Swaraj and assumed responsibility of attention for the Bengal Common Congress Board of Trustees. His tutor was Chittaranjan Das, who was a representative for forceful patriotism in Bengal. In the year 1923, Bose was chosen the leader of All India Youth Congress and furthermore the secretary of Bengal State Congress. He was likewise manager of the daily paper Forward, established by Chittaranjan Das. Bose functioned as the president of the Calcutta City Partnership for Das when the last was chosen leader of Calcutta in 1924. In a gathering of patriots in 1925, Bose was captured and sent to jail in Mandalay, where he contracted tuberculosis. In 1927, subsequent to being discharged from jail, Bose ended up plainly broad secretary of the Congress Party and worked with Jawaharlal Nehru for freedom. In late December 1928, Bose sorted out the yearly gathering of the Indian National Congress in Calcutta. His most vital part was as General Officer charging GOC, Congress Volunteer Corps. Creator Nirad Chowdhury expounded on the gathering. With Indian National Congress 1937 to 1940, he remained for unfit Swaraj self-administration, including the utilization of power against the English. This implied an encounter with Mohandas Gandhi, who in truth restricted Bose's administration. Part the Indian National Congress Party. Bose endeavored to look after solidarity, yet Gandhi exhorted Bose to shape his own bureau. The break additionally partitioned Bose and Nehru. Bose showed up at the 1939 Congress meeting on a stretcher. He was chosen president again, finished Gandhi's favoured applicant Pattabhi Sitaramaya. U. Muthuramalingam Theva emphatically bolstered Bose in the intra-Congress debate. Theva activated every South Indian votes in favour of Bose. Nonetheless, due to the manoeuvrings of the Gandhi drove inner circle in the Congress working panel, Bose got himself compelled to leave from the Congress administration. On the 22nd of June 1939, Bose sorted out the All India Forward Alliance, a group inside the Indian National Congress, went for merging the political left. Yet its primary quality was in his home state, Bengal. U. Muthuramalingam Theva, who was a staunch supporter of Bose from the earliest starting point, joined the Forward Alliance. At the point when Bose went by Madurai on the 6th of September, Theva sorted out a huge rally as his gathering. At the point when Subhas Chandra Bose was making a beeline for Madurai, on a welcome of Muthuramalingam Theva to gather bolster for the Forward Coalition, he went through Madras and burned through 3 days at Gandhi, pinnacle. His correspondence uncovers that in spite of his reasonable aversion for English enslavement, he was profoundly awed by their deliberate and methodical approach and their enduringly taskmaster standpoint towards life. In Britain, he traded thoughts on the fate of India with English work-gathering pioneers and political scholars like Ruler Halifax, George Lansbury, Lenient Attlee, Arthur Greenwood, Harold Lasky, J. Haldane, Ivor Jennings, G. Cool, Gilbert Murray and Sir Stafford Cripps. He came to trust that a free India required communist tyranny, on the lines of Turkey's Kemal Ataturk, for no less than 2 decades. For politically reasons, Bose was denied consent by the English experts to meet Ataturk at Ankara. Amid his stay in Britain, Bose endeavoured to plan arrangements, yet just the work-gathering and liberal government officials consented to meet with him. Moderate gathering authorities declined to meet him or show him obligingness, since he was a government official originating from a settlement. In the 1930s, driving figures in the moderate party had restricted even territory status for India. It was amid the work-gathering administration of 1945 to 1951, with Attlee as the leader, that India picked up freedom. On the flare-up of war, Bose pushed a crusade of mass common rebellion to challenge emissary ruler Linlithgow's choice to proclaim war for India's benefit without counselling the Congress administration. Having neglected to influence Gandhi of the need of this, Bose composed mass challenges in Calcutta requiring the Holwell landmark, recognizing the dark gap of Calcutta, which at that point remained at the edge of Dalhousie Square, to be evacuated. He was tossed behind bars by the English, however was discharged after a 7-day hunger strike. Bose's home in Calcutta was kept under observation by the SID. In Nazi Germany, 1941–1943, Bose's capture and ensuing discharge set the scene for his escape to Germany by means of Afghanistan and the Soviet Union. A couple of days before his escape, he looked for isolation and, on this appearance, abstained from meeting English watchers and grew a facial hair. Late night, the 16th of January 1941, the evening of his escape, he dressed as a Pathan, dark-colored long coat, a dark fez-type coat and expansive nightgown, to abstain from being recognized. Bose got away from under English reconnaissance from his Elgin Street house in Calcutta around 1:25 a.m. on the 17th of January 1941. Joined by his nephew Sazir Kumar Bose in a German-made drifter W24 car auto, which would take him to Gomo railroad station in then province of Bihar, India. The auto, enrollment No. Blah 7169, was purchased by Subhas Chandra Bose's senior sibling Sarat Chandra Bose in 1937. The auto is currently in plain view at his Elgin Street home in Calcutta, India. He ventured to Peshawar with the assistance of the Abwehr, where he was met by Akbar Shah, Muhammad Shah and Bhagat Smash Talwar. Bose was taken to the home of Abid Khan, a trusted companion of Akbar Shah's. On the 26th of January 1941, Bose started his trip to achieve Russia through English India's northwest wilderness with Afghanistan. Hence, he enrolled the assistance of Mian Akbar Shah, at that point a forward alliance pioneer in the northwest wilderness territory. Shah had been out of India on the way to the Soviet Union, and proposed a novel camouflage for Bose to expect. Since Bose couldn't talk single word of Pashto, it would make him a simple focus of Pashto speakers working for the English. Hence, Shah recommended that Bose's demonstration almost totally senseless, and let his facial hair develop to emulate those of the tribesmen. Bose's guide Bhagat Slam Talwar, obscure to him, was a Soviet specialist in Japanese-occupied Asia 1943 to 1945. The Indian National Armed Force (INA) was the brainchild of Japanese Major and post-war Lieutenant General Hiroichi Fujiwara. Led the Japanese knowledge unit Fujiwara Kikan and had its starting points first in the gatherings amongst Fujiwara and the leader of the Bangkok section of the Indian Freedom Association, Pritam Singh Dhillon, and after that, through Pritam Singh's system, in the enrollment by Fujiwara of a court English Indian Armed Force commander, Mohan Singh on the western Malayan promontory in December 1941. Fujiwara's main goal was to raise an armed force which would battle close by the Japanese armed force. Quote, after the underlying proposition by Fujiwara, the Indian National Armed Force was framed because of talk amongst Fujiwara and Mohan Singh in the second 50% of December 1941, and the name picked together by them in the primary 7-day stretch of January 1942. Death on the 18th of August 1945 in the accord with insightful conclusion. Subhas Chandra Bose's demise happened from severely charred areas on the 18th of August 1945 after his overburdened Japanese plane smashed in Japanese-ruled Formosa, now Taiwan. In any case, numerous among his supporters, particularly in Bengal, declined at the time, and have denied since, to accept either the reality or the conditions of his demise. Paranoid fears showed up inside hours of his demise and have from that point had a long time frame of realistic usability, keeping alive different military myths about Bose. In Taihoko, at around 2:30 p.m. as the plane with Bose on load-up was leaving the standard way taken via airship amid remove, the travelers inside heard a noisy sound, like a motor reverse discharges. The mechanics on the landing area saw something drop out of the plane. It was the portside motor, or a piece of it, and the propeller. The plane swung fiercely to one side and ducked, slamming, breaking into two, and detonating into blazes. Inside, the main pilot, co-pilot and Lieutenant General Tsunama Sashidi, the bad habit head of staff of the Japanese Kwantung Armed Force, who was to have made the arrangements for Bose with the Soviet Armed Force in Manchuria, were in a flash executed. Bose's right-hand Habiba Rahman was shocked, going out quickly, and Bose, albeit cognizant and not lethally hurt, was absorbed fuel. At the point when Rahman came to, he and Bose endeavored to leave by the back entryway, yet thought that it was obstructed by the gear. They at that point chose to go through the flares and exit from the front. The ground staff, now moving toward the plane, saw two individuals amazing towards them, one of whom had turned into a human light. The human light ended up being Bose, whose gas-splashed garments had in a flash touched off. Rahman and a couple of others figured out how to cover the blazes. yet in addition saw that Bose's face and head showed up seriously consumed. As per Joyce Chapman Lebra, a truck which filled in as emergency vehicle hurried Bose and alternate travelers to the Nanmorn military clinic south of Taihoko. The airplane terminal workforce called Thrive. Tanayoshi Yoshimi, the specialist in control at the healing center at around 3 p.m. Bose was cognizant and for the most part lucid when they achieved the doctor's facility. And for quite a while from that point, Bose was stripped, aside from a sweeping wrapped around him. And Dr. Yoshimi instantly observed confirmation of severely charred areas on many parts of the body, particularly on his chest, questioning especially that he would live. Dr. Yoshimi expeditiously started to treat Bose and was helped by Dr. Tsuruta, as per antiquarian Leonard A. Gordon, who talked with all the doctor's facility workforce. Later belief system Bose supported Finnish unlimited autonomy for India, though the All India Congress Board of Trustees needed it in stages. Through territory status, at long last at the noteworthy Lahore Congress tradition, the Congress received Purna Swaraj, Finnish autonomy, as its proverb. Gandhi was given animating gatherings wherever he followed Gandhi-Irwin agreement. Subhas Chandra Bose, going with Gandhi in these undertakings, later composed that the considerable excitement he saw among the general population enthused him massively and that he questioned if some other pioneer any place on the planet got such a gathering as Gandhi did amid these movements the nation over. He was detained and removed from India. Challenging the boycott, he returned to India and was detained once more. Bose was chosen leader of the Indian National Congress for 2 successive terms, yet needed to leave from the post following ideological clashes with Mohandas K. Gandhi and after transparently assaulting the Congress outside and inward arrangements. Bose trusted that Gandhi's strategies of peacefulness could never be adequate to secure India's autonomy, and supported savage protection. He built up a different political gathering, the All India Forward Coalition, and kept on requiring the full and quick autonomy of India from English-run the show. He was detained by the English specialists 11 times. His position did not change with the flare-up of the Second World War, which he saw as a chance to exploit English shortcoming. At the beginning of the war, he exited India, flying out to the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany and majestic Japan, looking for a collusion with each of them to assault the English government in India. With royal Japanese help, he re-sorted out and later drove the Azad Rear for U, or Indian National Armed Force, INA, framed with Indian detainees of war and manner, specialists from English Malaya, Singapore, and different parts of Southeast Asia, against English powers. With Japanese fiscal, political, conciliatory and military help, he shaped the Azad Rear government estranged abroad, and regrouped and drove the Indian National Armed Force in fizzled military battles against the partners at Imperial and in Burma. Heritage on 23 August 2007. Japanese head administrator Shinzo Abe went by the Subhas Chandra Bose commemoration lobby in Kolkata. Abe said to Bose's family, "The Japanese are profoundly moved by Bose's solid will to have driven the Indian freedom development from English-run the show." Netaji is a much-regarded name in Japan. The accompanying words are engraved on a metal shield before the seat. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose to free India from the shackles of English colonialism composed the Azad Rear government from outside the nation on October 21, 1943. Netaji set up the temporary administration of autonomous India, Azad Rear, and exchanged its headquarters at Rangoon on January 7, 1944. On 5 April 1944, the Azad Rear Bank was introduced at Rangoon. It was on this event that Netaji utilized this seat out of the blue. Later the seat was kept at the home of Netaji at 51 College Road, Rangoon, where the workplace of the Azad rear government was additionally housed. Afterwards, at the season of leaving Burma, the Britishers gave over the seat to the group of Mr. Ahuja, the outstanding representative of Rangoon. The seat was formally given over to the administration of India in January 1979. It was conveyed to Calcutta on the 17th July, 1980. It has now been ritualistically introduced at the Red Fortress on July 7, 1981.